This isn't just another Superman story. This is the most dangerous chapter of his life. 30 years ago, they came. Alien beings with powers beyond imagination. Earth called them metahumans. The first? A child in a silent spacecraft crash landing in Kansas. Raised by humble farmers but born with the strength of a god. They named him Superman. 3 weeks ago, he saved a nation. The country of Boravia was moments away from invading its peaceful neighbor, Jarhanpur. But Superman stopped them. Alone. The world cheered. But heroes have enemies. And enemies remember. Just 3 hours ago, the city of Metropolis shook. A metahuman emerged from the shadows, calling himself the Hammer of Boravia. Fueled by vengeance, he struck Superman with brutal force. And for the first time, Superman fell. Hard. He couldn't even move. Bones shattered, muscles torn, hope fading. But with one painful breath, he lets out a sound. Barely a whisper. A whistle. Seconds later, Krypto arrives. Not your average dog. A super dog. Loyal, strong, but also playful. Too playful. Instead of helping, he jumps on his master, licking, tugging, hurting him even more. Superman groans, begging him to stop and take him home. Krypto finally understands. He grabs Superman's red cloak, his only strength left, and drags him through the snow, toward the only place that might save him. The Fortress of Solitude. The gates open to Krypto's bark. Inside, advanced alien tech awakens. Robotic arms lift Superman onto a healing bed. A voice echoes. It's a final message from his parents, a message meant to comfort. But it's corrupted. He never gets to hear the whole truth. Still, their words remind him of his purpose. Protect the planet you now call home. The robots tilt massive solar lenses toward him, amplifying the sun's energy 1,000-fold. In a flash, he's healed. He rises, nods at Krypto, and without wasting a second, flies back toward Metropolis. This time, he's ready, but the storm isn't over. Lex Luthor has returned. A billionaire, a genius, a man obsessed with one thing, the fall of Superman. He builds a team, not ordinary soldiers. These are engineered monsters, leading them. Angela, known as the Engineer. Luthor had fused her blood with nanotech. She could create anything. From nothing, she tracks the fortress, ready to attack. But Luthor halts her, because something bigger is happening. Superman faces a new enemy again, or is it someone familiar? Ultraman enters the battlefield. His attacks, too precise, too planned. Superman falls again. But this wasn't a coincidence. Luthor had designed everything. Each move, each strike, 250 customized blades crafted for Superman's weaknesses, all controlled, remotely, by Luthor's drone. Ultraman was his puppet, and the world didn't know. To the public, he was just another soldier from Boravia, a warrior from a war-torn land, but in truth, he was Luthor's secret weapon. And now, he's standing inside Luthor's hidden command center, through a portal no one knew existed. The question is, what's coming next? Because if Superman fails one more time, humanity might never rise again. While the world watched Superman bleed, his real identity remained a secret. By day, he's just Clark Kent, a quiet reporter at the Daily Planet. But behind the glasses, he hides the strength of a god. Only one person knows the truth. Lois Lane, another reporter, his secret girlfriend. Meanwhile, across the ocean, Boravia's president steps in front of cameras. He claims innocence, denies all ties to the so-called Hammer of Boravia, and then blames Superman. He says, because of him, Boravia's friendship with America has crumbled. But that was all part of Lex Luthor's plan. Luthor appears before General Rick and top US officials. He proposes the unthinkable. Arrest Superman. Why? To avoid war, to ensure national safety, and he claims his Planet Watch team can handle it. A private army made of Ultraman the Engineer and a deadly fleet called Raptors. But General Rick isn't convinced. Director Cole stands up, his voice sharp. He accuses Luthor of fueling the war. Your weapons were sold to Boravia, he says. You profit from chaos. You want Superman gone so your business grows. The room falls silent. The proposal is rejected. But war has already begun in silence. That night, Clark meets Lois. She already knows. He is Superman. They talk in whispers. She questions his choice. Why stop Boravia? She asks. Aren't they America's ally? Clark's voice trembles. I didn't choose sides. I chose lives. I saved people, good or bad. But Lois pushes again. What about our country's alliance? And Clark finally breaks. My parents sent me here for a reason. He looks away. They wanted me to protect this world, not choose between its borders. Silently, with a heavy heart, Clark walks away. But His enemies. They're already closing in. The next morning, Luthor, Ultraman, the engineer, and her partner Eva. They find Superman's sanctuary, hidden deep in Antarctica. But something strange happens. As they approach, the snow shifts. The fortress rises from beneath the ice. Its doors open by themselves, exactly the way they do when he returns. The engineer stares in awe. "It's alive," she whispers. Inside, robotic guardians wake up, believing Superman has returned. But before they can react, Ultraman strikes. Engineer follows. One by one, the robots fall. But there's one left. Krypto. He leaps forward, teeth bared. But the engineer shuts his mouth instantly with liquid nanotech. Silence. She begins stealing data. Everything Superman ever hid, every file, every secret, is now being downloaded into Luthor's hands. And Superman doesn't even know it yet. But soon, he will. And when he does, there will be no turning back. A new threat rises from the shadows. Luthor unleashes something monstrous. A fire-breathing kaiju, small at first, sent into the heart of the city. Its mission? Delay Superman. Keep him far away from what's really happening. Back inside the fortress, the engineer begins her real task. She absorbs the data like a machine possessed. And suddenly, she finds it. The message. The one from Superman's parents. The one he never heard fully. It was corrupted. But not anymore. She decrypts it. Completely. Then dawn breaks. And so does the city's skyline. The kaiju, once small, now towers over buildings. Its roar melts steel. People run, screaming. Superman flies in faster than light, saving those caught in the chaos. But he's not alone. The Justice Gang has arrived. Green Lantern, Hawkgirl, Mr. Terrific. They join the fight, striking hard, unleashing power. But every blast, every hit, threatens the innocent nearby. So Superman shifts focus, not to attack, but to protect, shielding civilians from collateral destruction. Meanwhile, Mr. Terrific studies the creature, its movements, its structure. He finds a weakness. With perfect timing, he deploys tiny drones. They enter the kaiju's body and detonate. Boom, the monster collapses. But before it hits the ground, Superman catches it, slowly, gently, lays it to rest, saving hundreds from being crushed. But peace doesn't last. Luthor goes live on national TV. He plays the full decrypted message from Krypton. Superman's parents speak, but this time, it's not about peace. They urge him to take multiple wives on Earth, to rebuild the Kryptonian race, and rule Earth without mercy. Gasps ripple through the crowd. Anger spreads like wildfire. The world turns. The people, now afraid. The city that once cheered his name now questions everything. Superman tries to explain, to the Justice Gang. This wasn't the message I heard. My parents told me to protect Earth. But no one is listening. Then, a realization hits him. Luthor. He went to my fortress. He takes off. Immediately, he arrives. Too late. The fortress is destroyed. Super robots, dead. Systems, offline. Only one bot still clings to life. Superman kneels beside it. My DNA is the key. How did he get in? But before it answers, its circuits fail. Silence. Superman calls out, "Krypto!" But there's no response. Krypto is missing. Then, another blow. The US government turns against him. An arrest warrant is issued. Superman is now the enemy. On national TV, Baravia's president gives another speech. He condemns Superman, claims peace, pretends innocence. But once the cameras stop rolling, the truth emerges. He walks into his office, steps through a hidden portal, and enters Luthor's pocket universe. Luthor waits. He looks the president in the eye. The message is real. I didn't alter a single word. The president says nothing, just nods, and vanishes back through the portal. Luthor smiles, then walks out, calmly, into his corporate office. The world is turning, and Superman, he's never been more alone. Superman has had enough. He doesn't knock, he doesn't wait. He crashes through the wall of Luthor's skyscraper, straight into his private office. His eyes burn with rage. "Where's Krypto?" he growls. Luthor barely flinches, but his girlfriend, Eve, starts recording. A live video, broadcast straight to the public. Superman angry, threatening, breaking laws. Luthor plays the victim. "I have no idea what you're talking about." The video goes viral within minutes, and now, it's being used against him. That night, Lois comes to see him. She finds him, alone, defeated, in his apartment. He tells her calmly, "I don't want to rule anyone." Lois believes him. She always has. Then, in a desperate move, Superman walks straight to General Rick's base. He surrenders himself. in exchange for crypto. But Ultraman doesn't care. He slams Superman to the ground, binds his hands, treats him like a criminal. The government doesn't step in. They hand him over to the worst possible person, Luthor. Ultraman and the engineer escort Superman to a military base, now completely under Luthor's control. And then, it happens. Luthor opens a glowing portal. With one final push, he sends Superman through it, into the Pocket Universe, a world Luthor created himself. Superman lands, confused, alone, surrounded by emptiness and stars. Luthor appears through the light. He smiles. "Welcome to your new prison," he explains. He built a machine that mimicked the Big Bang, an energy wave powerful enough to rip space-time. That tear? It became this pocket universe. Then Luthor introduces someone else, a creature of living science, Metamorph, a man who can shift his body into any element. Right in front of Superman, Metamorph's arm transforms into kryptonite. Superman gasps. He falls to his knees, power draining fast. Luthor whispers coldly, "Kryptonite is the only thing in existence that can break you, and I own it now." But it gets worse. Luthor doesn't just imprison his enemies here. He traps old lovers, friends, anyone who disobeys him. Superman looks up and sees Krypto, locked inside a hallucination, eyes vacant, mind controlled. Then the truth comes out. Metamorph is being forced to obey. Luthor is holding his newborn son, Joey, hostage. A child trapped, so the father stays loyal. Back at the Daily Planet, the truth begins to surface. Lois investigates Luthor's Baravian weapons deal. 6 lakh crores worth of weapons sent, but only 13,000 crores received. That's no profit, that's a setup. Something darker is at play. Jimmy Olsen finds it suspicious too. He contacts a source, someone close to Luthor. And it's none other than Eve, the same Eve who recorded Superman. Secretly, she's in love with Jimmy, but Jimmy barely notices her. To him, she's just a lead. Eve is scared, terrified of turning on Luthor, because she knows what he does to traitors. She knows the Pocket Universe is real. But Jimmy speaks softly. "If we expose him, you'll never have to live in fear again. You can be free. You can come with me." She hesitates, because one decision could change the future of this world forever. Inside the Pocket Universe, Superman is on his knees, weak, fading, still trying. He looks Metamorph in the eyes. "If you take away the kryptonite, I can save your son." But Metamorph doesn't flinch. Instead, he burns Superman's face, shuts him down with searing pain. Meanwhile, in the real world, Lois Lane won't give up. She turns to the only people left who might help, the Justice Gang. Mr. Terrific steps forward. He tells her the truth, the message from Superman's parents. It's real, untouched, no manipulation. And then, another truth. Everyone already knows Clark is Superman. Terrific reveals something else. He had secretly injected nanobot trackers into Superman's bloodstream, and their last signal came from a decommissioned military base. Even if Superman was dead, those bots would still transmit. But the signal just stopped, right at that location. That's how they know he's inside the Pocket Universe. Mr. Terrific doesn't wait for anyone else. He boards his ship and takes Lois with him, straight to the abandoned base. Back in the Pocket Realm, Luthor has changed. He now calls himself the President of Baravia. Power suits him. A prisoner, an ordinary man who once helped Superman, is forced to his knees, a gun to his head. Luthor demands names. "Tell me, who helped you? Who raised you?" But the man says nothing. So Luthor pulls the trigger. The shot echoes. The man falls. Superman screams in rage, helpless, shattered. Even Metamorph trembles. Luthor walks away, smiling. Next time, bring me Clark. Elsewhere, Mr. Terrific lands at the military base. He moves fast, silently disabling every guard. Inside a sealed tent, he finds it. A mysterious machine. A portal opener. He looks at it, concerned. If this stays open too long, he warns, time will rip apart. Reality will collapse. Still, he hacks into the system. The portal hums and opens. Back in the Pocket World. Metamorph is breaking. That innocent man's death has shattered him. Tears stream down his face. He turns to Superman. "Can you save me, my son?" Superman breathes heavy. "I promise. I'll save him." That's all Metamorph needed to hear. He removes the kryptonite. The green glow fades. But Superman isn't healed yet. He whispers weakly, "I need yellow sunlight." Without hesitation, Metamorph acts. He reconstructs particles, mimics the exact radiation from Earth's sun. Using raw elements, he builds a glowing field of artificial solar energy. The effect is instant. Superman heals. His strength returns. His wounds vanish. He rises, faster than light. He finds the child, breaks the prison, and places the boy safely into his father's arms. The promise is kept, but the war is just beginning. He can't touch his son anymore. Metamorph knows it now. If he does, his unstable form will harm the boy. With heavy eyes, he looks at Superman. You take care of him now. No more waiting. Together, they charge at the guards. Superman strikes like a bullet. Metamorph melts into acid, sweeping over the soldiers, burning through armor and metal like wax. Meanwhile, above them, Mr. Terrific's drone scans the pocket universe, frantically searching. But the portal is weakening. It's been open too long. It begins to flicker and shrink. Suddenly, Krypto rushes in, barking wildly. Terrific locates Superman just in time and pulls everyone out through the collapsing portal, barely making it. But it's not over. Kryptonite's poison has spread deep into Superman's bloodstream. Terrific turns to Lane, urgent but calm. Get him somewhere safe. Keep him in sunlight for 2 days. That'll heal him. Back at the base, things spiral. Luthor finds out Superman escaped. He loses control. Rage explodes inside him. He screams at Eve, hurls insults, then throws her out of the control room. Tears running down her face. Eve makes a desperate move. She secretly calls Jimmy, sending him a last message, the evidence file. But when Jimmy opens it, it's just Eve's selfies. Nothing else. Or so it seems. At a quiet farmhouse, Lane brings the weak Superman to his foster parents. As Clark rests, Jimmy forwards the photos. Lane scrolls through them, frustrated, until she looks closer. And then she sees it. In the background of every selfie, pieces of Luthor's plan. Maps, codes, schematics, hidden in plain sight. Meanwhile, madness takes over. Luthor demands the portal be reopened. Scientists beg him to stop. If this continues, the portal will tear through time itself. A black hole will swallow Earth. But Luthor's gone too far. I have the shutdown codes, he mutters, delusional, and opens the portal anyway. Suddenly, reality breaks. The wall of time begins to tear. Earth shakes. Alarms scream. The end is near. And somewhere far from it all. Clark opens a final message from his real father. His voice, calm and warm, says, "Your strength was never in your powers. It was always in your heart." Tears fall. Clark hugs his foster father, breaking down. "I don't know if I can stop this." His father holds him close. "Your actions define you, and I am proud of what you've done." Clark smiles faintly, but behind his eyes, he knows the storm is coming. And this time, it might be unstoppable. A war is about to begin again. Superman watches the news. Baravia's army has reached the border. Once more, they're preparing to invade Jarhanpur. But this time, the villagers are ready. Men, women, even children, armed with nothing but sticks, axes, and hope, stand at the edge of their homeland. Among them, a few kids paint Superman's symbol on an old flag. They raise it high and begin chanting his name. Their voices echo through the valley. "Superman! Superman!" The elders join in. Fear fades. Faith returns. But before he can take off, Mr. Terrific intercepts him with grim urgency. "Forget Baravia. The timeline is tearing. Earth itself is falling apart. You need to be in Metropolis. Now." Superman hesitates, but nods. Metropolis has already sounded the alarm. Evacuation orders are in place. Streets are emptying. But the real war is only beginning. Across town, Lois Lane exposes everything to her editor. Luthor's plan isn't just about helping Baravia, she says. He made a secret deal. Once Baravia takes Jarhanpur, they'll give him half the land, where he'll build the largest digital estate and drill crude oil to get rich. But that's not the worst part. His experiments? They're breaking the universe apart, and he knew Superman would stop him. So he built an entire plan just to imprison him. Suddenly, the city shakes. The crack, ripping through the Earth's timeline, has reached Metropolis. Luthor watches from his command room, but he's ready. His entire control chamber detaches from the collapsing tower, revealing itself to be a space jet. As the city trembles, Superman returns to the sky, saving as many as he can. But chaos erupts around him. Mr. Terrific is ambushed by the engineer, and Superman is blindsided by Ultraman. Luthor gives the order. "Fill his lungs with nanonites. Shut him down." The engineer obeys. Nanobots flood into Superman's chest. He gasps, choking, falling. But then, he doesn't fall. He rises. Struggling to breathe, Superman pushes himself higher, fighting the weight of poison and pain. Ultraman and the engineer chase after him, determined to pull him back, but they're too late. Superman breaks through the clouds. Racing upward, his body collapses, but his will never does. He pierces the edge of space, where there's no oxygen left, and then he turns. Faster than supersonic, faster than light. He dives. A blur of burning light streaks down from orbit. The air cracks, the sky splits, and Superman crashes into Earth like a living meteor. Everything changes after that. The ground trembles. But it's not from an earthquake. Superman's impact shakes the battlefield. A massive shockwave ripples through the city. The engineer collapses, his entire system fried from the blast. Only one thing inside him still works: his heart. Superman, burned and breathless, pulls the nanonites from his lungs. One by one, he forces them out. He gasps for air, finally breathing again. Just then, Ultraman steps forward and rips off his torn mask. Superman freezes. He's looking at himself. Same face, same eyes, same strength. But not the same soul. Luthor's voice crackles through the comms. He's you, created from your DNA, from a single strand of your hair. He's your shadow, your double, your clone. Now it all makes sense. That's how Luthor breached the Fortress of Solitude. He had the key all along, in Ultraman's blood. Ultraman doesn't wait. He launches forward, striking Superman with brutal force. Again and again. Across the border, a new battle ignites. The Justice Gang arrives in Jarhanpur and unleashes hell. Baravia's soldiers never stood a chance. Metamorph turns tanks to smoke. Hawkgirl grabs the Baravian president and drops him from the sky. His scream is the last sound he ever makes. Back in Metropolis, Lois Lane's article hits the front page. Luthor's secrets are out. The world now knows everything. But that doesn't stop the beating. Ultraman has Superman pinned. He's winning, again. Superman coughs blood, his vision blurs. But then, he smiles and whistles. A blur of white fur flashes through the clouds. Krypto. The dog of steel crashes into Ultraman like a missile, snarling, growling, biting down hard. Ultraman flies backward, crashing into the wreckage. Superman turns to his loyal companion. Destroy the drones. All of them. Without hesitation, Krypto shoots into the sky. One by one, Luthor's control drones fall, chewed, crushed, obliterated. Sparks rain down. Ultraman's body twitches. He's lost his signal. Now, he's vulnerable. Superman rises. No words, no mercy. He unleashes a storm of punches, each one breaking through layers of armor and bone. Ultraman staggers, bleeds, falls, but it's not over yet. Suddenly, the sky darkens again. Thousands of metal wings slice through the clouds. Luthor's raptors. Armored drones descend on Superman like a swarm. Missiles lock, blasters charge. But Superman doesn't flinch. He soars into the air, spinning, blazing, and fires his heat vision. A red cyclone tears through the sky, slicing through metal, burning circuits, melting weapons. One by one, the Raptors fall, defeated. But just when victory seems near, Ultraman rises again. With a brutal scream, he lunges forward and locks Superman's arm in a bone-crushing grip. Round 4 begins now. The battlefield cracks. Superman grits his teeth, clenches his fist, and with brutal force, dislocates his own shoulder. He screams in pain but doesn't stop. He grabs Ultraman by the neck, lifts him with one arm, and hurls him straight into the path of a falling bus. But the war isn't over. Far away, Luthor stands before a massive portal, ripping the timeline apart. His escape is ready. Behind him, his loyal followers prepare to enter the Pocket Universe. But just as he steps forward, Superman returns. Luthor's eyes widen. Impossible. And then, Mr. Terrific arrives. Krypto is by his side. Without hesitation, Terrific hacks into Luthor's system. His fingers move fast, trying to reverse time itself. Meanwhile, Superman confronts Luthor. He doesn't shout. He doesn't punch. He speaks. You think I haven't suffered? You think I don't carry the weight of the world every single day? I do, but I never stop fighting. But Luthor just laughs. Cold, venomous. He raises his finger at Superman, taunting him, threatening. That's when Krypto snaps. He lunges, teeth bared, heart blazing. He knocks Luthor to the ground. One hit, two, he leaves him bleeding, half alive. Just then, click. Mr. Terrific executes the final override. The timeline stops unraveling, and then it starts to heal. Time rewinds. Cracks in the sky begin to fade. Broken structures reassemble. Wounds vanish. On TV screens across the nation, a shocking truth breaks. Luthor's betrayal exposed. The people watch in silence. And then, they cheer. Superman isn't just a hero anymore. He's their symbol, their hope, their savior. The Justice Gang reforms. Green Lantern inducts Metamorph, not for power, but for the name. They all laugh. Prisons open. Luthor's captives walk free. In a quiet alley, Eve sees Jamie again. She runs to him. He holds her tight, and this time he doesn't hesitate. I love you, he says. Across town, Superman walks Leanne into the city mall for a simple job interview. But it doesn't stay simple. He looks into her eyes. She smiles. And then, they kiss. The editor catches them and just grins. The next morning, a new headline breaks. The unknown man who died helping Superman is named the true hero of the city. His photo shines brighter than any politician's. Later, Superman returns to his fortress. He repairs broken bots, restores the walls, rebuilds what was lost. That's when Kara, his cousin, stumbles in, a little drunk, slurring. She's here to pick up Krypto, her pad dog. They both laugh. Finally, Superman collapses onto a medbed, exhausted, bruised, but alive. He plays an old video. His parents appear on screen, the same ones who raised him. Warm voices, loving smiles. He closes his eyes and breathes. That's where the story ends. If you like the video, like, share, and subscribe.